us tonight. We are going to be sharing with you a lot of information about scholarships and how to find scholarships. We've partnered with Halifax MFRC, and Scholarships Canada, and we're so excited to have our team here, who I'm going to introduce in just a minute. Before I introduce you, everybody, I'm just going to give you a quick tour of the classroom tools. We're going to ask you during the session, since we have such a great turnout tonight, we're going to ask you to mute during the session. So if you can mute your microphone, that would be great. In order to do this, what you do is you look at the right-hand side of your screen, and there is a little microphone to the right of your name. And you click on that. It's a toggle, so you click on it once, it will work, and you click on it again to unmute. So give that a shot. Make sure that you can mute and unmute your microphone. Great. Okay. Very good. So we're going to ask you to mute your microphone so that there's no background noise in the background. But we welcome all of your conversations if you want to raise your hand. So in order to raise your hand, you click on the little hand on the bottom of the participant panel on the right-hand side. So let's try that. Just click raise your hand if you have a question. Great. Let's see. I see Trent's hand up. I see a couple. Just raise your hand. Excellent. And then to put your hand away, you just click on the hand icon again, and then it gets put away. And the other thing we ask, too, is if you happen to step away from the classroom for any reason, just put up your coffee cup, which is the emoji on the right. And that way we'll know that you're not having audio problems, but you've stepped away from the session. What else can I share with you about this? The chat feature. So the chat feature works a lot like instant messaging. And in order for you to add your comments and your questions and all the information that you want us to share with you, just put in your comments in the chat. So to make sure that everybody can reach the chat, hi Nicole, it's great to see you. Just put in the chat hello and where you're calling from, and perhaps the school that you want to go to, that you're hoping to get some funds to go to. So in the chat in the bottom right hand, just so that I can see that you found the chat. Shearwater, and what school would you like to go to? Academy, Canada, St. John's, Newfoundland. Great. So where else are people calling from? Just use the chat in the right-hand side. Holly from Halifax. I'm going to introduce you to Holly in a little bit. Brenda, excellent. Looking at McGill. Great. From Sackville. Virginia, going to Waterloo, we hope. That's great, Evan. There's so many adventures coming up. Hello, Sunchi. How are you?
Oh, good. I had my computer trouble. Sorry, did I disturb you?
No worries. If you could just mute your microphone. We're just going through the sides and to chat. We're teaching the chat. Oh, Lord, I'm sorry, my voice is gone. So if you want to click on the mute button, which is the microphone at the end of your name.
Where
name on the right-hand side of the screen. Your name, and then there's a little microphone icon that if you just click on that, you'll mute your microphone. Super. Okay. So without further ado, we'll get started with our guest speakers. And thank you so much for being here, but we really hope that you use the chat regularly. We'll be monitoring it, and here we go. So it is my great pleasure to introduce to you the team, part of the team from Scholarships Canada. It's actually from EDGE, I believe, which is an umbrella company. And we have been doing this scholarship workshop for about 6 years now. It started with Sue Zentek, who was one of the team from MFS Europe. And we've had so much success with it, and we've saved our Canadian military families tens of thousands of dollars. and a big part of it is from Scholarships Canada. So Daniel, would you like to introduce yourself and share a little bit about what Scholarships Canada means to you?
Yeah, for sure. So, hi everybody. My name is Daniel Jones. As you can probably tell by my accent, I'm from Ireland. And yeah, I'm only in Canada here, living in Toronto with about 10 months now. And I'm pretty new to the EDGE IP team. I've joined us again. It's a great incentive for any students. There's a platform of 3 different websites, with Scholarships Canada in particular, helping finance students get through college or university with as little data as possible.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And we're also going to be having Chris Wilkins here is going to be speaking to us as well.
Hi, everyone. I work with Daniel and the team at Scholarships Canada and the School Finder Group. And I am looking forward to sort of helping answer any questions you guys might have and giving you a sense that there is a scholarship out there for you. I started the business 20 or so years ago with a view to really making education feasible for as many students as possible. So we're hoping that we can fulfill that promise today.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Chris. And it's really cool that you are the founder of this company, and look how far it's come. We have more than 90,000 different scholarships available right on the site, I think. It's something like that. So my name is Margaret McKenzie, and I am the online training and program development coordinator helping Halifax MFRC. I am a Canadian Armed Forces spouses with 12 moves, more than 27 years of experience, and plus or minus 200 weeks of family separation. I have a business degree from St. FX and a wealth of experience as a military spouse in all these different fabulous locations. Sue Zentek was the team lead 7 years ago when we first did a scholarships workshop that has since had more than 700 hits and has saved tens of thousands for our military families. So we're really excited to bring this back with Halifax MFRC, and we're going to share with you lots of great information. This session also will be recorded. So today's agenda, we're going to look at the introductions, which we've just done. We're going to share post-secondary education as a reality check, you know, what the costs will be. And we're going to share with you how scholarships are paid out. And then we're going to look at 7 myths about scholarships, things that you think, oh, I can't do that scholarship because, well, we're going to break that because. And then we're going to look at scholarshipscanada.com. We're going to have Daniel and Chris speak more about what is Scholarships Canada. And what you need to set up your own profile. And then we're going to take a tour of Scholarships Canada website. So we'll help you to set up your profile, show you where to find some really neat information as well. Then we're going to look at 5 different samples of scholarships applications. We're going to share a little bit of tips of winning essay and finding scholarships outside of Canada, specifically for Canadian military families, reservists, and veterans. And then we're going to wrap it up with contacts, so with various resources we'll give you, and there'll also be an after-session email, so you don't have to take notes, and this session is being recorded today. So please bring your questions and your comments into the chat, and raise your hand if we can help you. So this over to you, Chris and Daniel, on how much does a school really cost?
Daniel, do you want to take that one?
Yes, for sure. So this first slide here, what we've done is we've put together a brief explanation of how we would set out your costs over the course of a year. All these figures are annual costs. Again, first of all, we look at tuition. It depends where you're looking at studying and what exactly you're studying, but we're looking at 3,000 to 11,000. Then, if you're heading international, that can balloon up to as much as $50,000 per year. Then there's the obvious rent costs, which for students especially who have to head away from home and don't have the luxury of staying at their home place. Plus, you're looking at other fees. So these are miscellaneous costs that you may just oversee and are added to your budget. Then, of course, next we look at food. Again, it's broken down, and this is trying to plan your meals carefully. Every expense counts, and we all like to indulge eating out every so often, but again, trying to save that extra dollar really does work. Books, again, we've taken stats from Stats Canada, and the average cost of books, even with second-hand ones, do work that low. Next, you have your phone and internet bills for the year, as well as transportation and entertainment, and the average student is losing $20,000 to $25,000 per year. And all $20,000 to $25,000
per year.
Yeah,
wow.
For sure, and all of this is through Statistics Canada. So again, it's all being endorsed already.
Okay, so we're really going to want those 99,701 scholarships with a value of $199 million. Wow. All right, let's see what else can you share with us on the reality check. How are we going to pay for everything?
So I can take that one. There are several different options. One is savings and work, and I know more and more students are working. If it's not during the summer, then during the year. There are also opportunities if you're going to university or college to work with the school that you're attending. So there may be part-time jobs that you can do. The Bank of Mom and Dad is also an option. And I know a lot of families help their kids out in terms of education. We attend a lot of education fairs and speak as much to parents as we do to students, especially at the undergrad level. And then there are loans. So banks will offer loans and lines of credit, and that's an option, as well as provincial loans. So you may be able to get if you qualify, a loan from the provincial body. And then there's scholarships and bursaries, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So there are, as Margaret said, a lot of scholarships available. We think there's at least one scholarship for everyone out there. If you put a little effort into it and do a little bit of research, there's a good chance that you'll win at least one scholarship.
What's the difference between a scholarship and a bursary?
Bursary technically is a grant or a scholarship that requires financial need, technically. So they're interchanged. Usually it's just referred to as scholarships, but technically a bursary would be something that requires financial need.
Okay, thank you so much. So the next question I have for Chris and Daniel is, how is the scholarship paid out?
So I can take this one, Chris. So for how scholarships are paid out, each scholarship is unique, and that's something that we will touch on a little more as we go through. So just saying a scholarship does X doesn't apply, because every scholarship is different. So while a lot of scholarships give out checks or cash for spending as you like, some scholarships are more aimed at, first of all, textbooks. So they are essentially vouchers for your textbooks. They're primarily directly given for that. The next one can be MetroPass. So again, it's aimed at somebody who's in need of transportation costs. Another alternative is phone bill. So somebody that is obviously using a high usage on their phone or need requires it. And also entertainment. So entertainment is a very broad spectrum. It covers a lot. but there's even scholarships out there that are indicating that they're for entertainment purposes.
Really? And some scholarships are paid directly to the school?
Exactly. So they would go straight towards tuition costs. The student would never get the physical money in their hands, but again, it's an expense out of their lives.
Wow, wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay, so what are some of the scholarship myths? So sometimes, I know when my kids were going to school, sometimes they would say, oh, I don't need, I don't want to, it's too hard to look for a scholarship. So we're going to look at some of those myths and cut them down to size. Right, guys?
Let's do it.
So the very first myth that we're going to look at is, I don't have the marks. Chris or Daniel, what do you have to say about that?
I can take that. You don't need the marks. 86% of the scholarships in the database don't require an academic average at all, meaning it's just not even an issue. And so, yeah, there are some scholarships, about 14%, that require marks, and many of those are high marks. But by far the majority of scholarships don't even consider your academic average.
Wow, that's a great myth busted. Mythbusters like the show. All right, myth number 2, there is a lot of competition. I don't think I'm going to apply for scholarships because I'm never going to get it. There's too much competition.
Yeah, so I can take ways here. So with this, it's the first one is obviously one of the biggest myths. This is also right up there. Straight away when you think scholarships, you'll think, oh no, I'm not good enough to win this. 59% of scholarship administrators would like more applications. They believe that there is more quality out there, that maybe even the winners got over the line easily because there wasn't the competition to face them. And to prove the second point here, 3% of scholarships receive no applications at all. That is almost like saying, here, take your free money, and nobody came looking.
Can you imagine? So 3% of scholarships receive no applications at all. When I was doing a workshop with Brittany Palmer of the scholarship, Keys to Scholarships, she used to say, you don't have to save a small country to get a scholarship. And this is a person who got over $80,000 worth of scholarships 10 years ago. So you do not have to save a small country to get a scholarship. I like that expression. Okay, myth number 3, only schools give scholarships.
I can take that one. I will, Margaret, just note that I think Sun Hee, if I spelled or pronounced the name correctly, has their hand up. I don't know how we manage that.
Okay. I will see if I can chat with her.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
While you're doing that, yeah, only schools give scholarships. That is a myth. There are a lot of scholarships provided by colleges and universities, but they are not the only ones that provide the scholarships. And in fact, many of those scholarships provided by a college or university are somewhat easy to find. You often, when you apply to the university or the college, you'll be maybe alerted, or some of them are automatic consideration scholarships, so you don't have to do much work at all. The juicy bits, the good ones in a sense, and the ones that are harder to find, and some of them are quite hefty, are the ones that are granted or provided by non-educational administrators. And in Scholarships Canada, there are, I think, over 1,000 such administrators that provide tens of thousands of scholarships. Some of them might be quite large, like the TD scholarship with $70,000, and some smaller, but they're all on the site, and they are often kind of nuggets of gold, if you want to call them that. They may be maybe a scholarship provided by a trade union or an association, or a religious organization or the Canadian military. And some of them will go, will be very under applied for. So the competition may be not quite as stiff as some of the other ones. And you have a good chance of winning them. So they're very important, I think, to consider when you're looking at the scholarship portfolio and winning some scholarships.
So what I like to say is stake your claim, apply, right?
Yeah.
All right, so myth number 4. Oh, darn, I missed this. I missed the deadline for this scholarship, so I may as well not do any scholarships because the deadline's always in October.
Yeah, so I can help with this one. Again, a complete myth. There's no deadline for scholarships as a generalization. Scholarships are happening all throughout the year. There may be certain peaks where there is more scholarships given out than others, but it's working with so many scholarships, they're staggered throughout the year, so there's always something on the horizon. Even myself and Chris were just speaking about it today, working with a new client, and again, it's at an odd time of the year that we were saying that it's just, and they're large 5-figure sum scholarships. So it's not just the smaller scholarships that would apply to.
It's not just the smaller scholarships?
It's also large sum scholarships that happen at any time of the year.
Yes, that's right. So there's a whole variety, right? Never give up. And I've heard, too, if you miss a deadline, perhaps you can put it in your calendar for next year and share it with somebody who may apply. You may no longer apply, but you can share it with somebody.
For sure, and not even that. It may be applicable to you next year because a lot of these scholarships, they're not just designed for 1 year. They can be continuous, and they could be for any level of education.
Right, exactly. Fantastic. And also on your site, I think you were mentioning that there's a way to mark deadlines or something like that?
Yeah, so we do indeed. So we can probably look at that a little closer later on. But we have a deadline alert. So prior to the deadline of any scholarship that you've marked yourself interested in, you will get an alert. Just to give yourself a little bit of time to make sure that you've all the details filled out and you've applied for that scholarship.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So myth number 4, busted. Myth number 5, I'm not going to apply for any scholarships because I'm not in financial desperate need. I'm doing okay.
That is a good myth to break. So you do not need to be in financial need. Again, as with marks, a small percentage of scholarships require financial need, otherwise known as bursaries, but the majority of the scholarships on the website do not require you to be in any financial need. So don't let that discourage you. It's not going to be an issue.
All right, another myth busted. Myth number 6. You have to pay an application fee for the privilege of applying to the best scholarships. What I have to say to that, first off, before we give it to Chris and Daniel, is never, ever, ever pay for a scholarship. It will be a scam. Just run far, run fast. Never pay for a scholarship application, ever.
Yeah, no, you hit the nail on the head there. The idea of the scholarships are to help you with your financial situation and to try and give you money. The idea of a scholarship is not to take money away from you. So if something is looking for money, then that's a red flag straight away. As they say, if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck.
And what I found interesting, too, Daniel, is that every scholarship you have 99,000 some odd scholarships, every scholarship has been vetted. So none will ever ask for a fee on Scholarships Canada, right?
Yeah, so we always check the legitimacy of any scholarships and schools and universities that pop up on our platform. So anything that's posted across any School Finder Group platform, it's all being vetted and everything is 100% above board.
Wow, thank you so much. Well, myth number 6 busted. Here's the last myth. Okay, you have to be in grade 12 to apply to scholarships. Only grade 12 students. That is a myth, and why?
That is a myth because scholarships are available throughout your educational journey, even after you graduate. So we kind of group them into entrance scholarships. So there are many entrance scholarships on the website. An entrance would apply to grade 12 students going into college or university. But entrance also means scholarships for students going into a master's or a doctorate program or a post-diploma. So there are lots of entrance scholarships, and then there are lots of in-school scholarships. And these are awards that are given or granted, awarded to students in first year, second year, third year of undergraduate. There are some awards that are meant for graduates of programs. There are some awards, obviously, for second or multiple years at the master's or doctorate level. So, yeah, it's not just for grade 12 students, and it's not just for students going into, I guess, first year of college or university. There are awards for mature students who are going back to school or who perhaps graduated from high school but never went on to college or university and now are a little older. There are awards for single parents. There are awards for all sorts of different people who are at different stages of in their educational journey.
And you said college, so not only just university and graduate, but also college and skills courses?
Absolutely, yeah. So for college, career college, yeah, so the whole universities, and also in Canada and outside of Canada, if you were going to school outside of Canada, there may be a scholarship, given or awarded within Canada for students who are attending school somewhere else. Yeah.
Wonderful. So as I like to say, anybody from 16 to 96 years can get a scholarship, pretty much.
There you go.
There you go. There's myth number 7. Okay, so this is for you now, guys, in the chat. Please write in the chat which myth surprised you the most. Here's the review of the list, and which one surprised you the most? They're not so competitive. Good, James. Yeah, that's right. And the deadlines change. It's a movable feast. Deadlines are year-round. Great. Oh, you're right, Evan. So, you don't have to say the small country. Yeah. They really look at community service, I think, right? That's a big part of it, isn't it?
It is a big requirement. It is, yeah.
Tammy, go again. Are you surprised scholarships are for everyone? That one got me a couple of years back. Okay, super. So now we know we've talked about some realities, we've talked about the myths, and we've busted your myths, so now there's no more excuses. Here we go, Scholarships Canada. This website is amazing. It's got 99,701 awards today, worth over $199 million. Daniel and Chris, can you please share a little bit about what this is, and then we're going to get into how we set up a profile. So what is Scholarships Canada? How did it get started? Chris, you're the founder. Go.
Sure. So what we're trying to do with the website, with the service, if you want to call it that, is make it much easier for you as a student or a parent to get matched to the right scholarships, because you can imagine going through 999,000 plus awards, it would take you a while to kind of filter through them and figure out which ones you wanted to apply to. So the website, the vision of the website was to make it that much easier for you to find the right award and sort of get to a short list, apply, and hopefully win and realize your dream, whatever that is, wherever you want to go to school. And over the years, it's become even more important as the cost of education has increased, and the variety and options in terms of education have expanded. You know, finding the right award can make a big difference for the right awards. So we hope the website does that, and so it's meant to, although you can search on the site and just kind of do a keyword search, we encourage students to create a profile, and in doing that, fill out or answer as many questions as you can. And in doing that, we'll deliver a very short list. So not 99,000, more like 50 or 100 scholarships that are matched to your profile. And then we provide tools to make it easy to find out more information, reach out to the scholarship administrator if you want to, find out how you apply. And coming soon, we'll have an online application. So you'll be able to also apply to any scholarship through the website, which we hope will make it even more easy to find and win scholarships.
Wow.
That's kind of the vision. Yeah, and we've got several 100,000 students who've created profiles and have used the site over the years, probably closer to over 1 million students over the last 10 or 15 years have used it to find awards, including Brittany Palmer, who Margaret you mentioned a minute ago. And yeah, so once you create a profile, it just becomes that much easier to find the right scholarship.
Wonderful. So what we're going to look at now is how to create a profile. So in order to create a profile, we have to have certain things ready, right? So let's go through this.
Okay,
great.
So I can help
go
here.
Ahead, Daniel.
So just creating your profile, it's basically getting your basic information ready to hand. So before you begin, just take some time to think about yourself and about your circumstances at the moment. So first of all, your year of study. It's a basic question. What year are you in? What year should you be aiming to look at on Scholarships Canada? So if you're an entrance undergraduate, you're not going to be looking at the graduate scholarships. So just aiming yourself in the right direction here from the start. It's a question in the setup. Next of all, your personal circumstances. Is there anything that is directly involved to you that makes you eligible for scholarships that maybe not everybody else is eligible for? Are you a single parent? Do you have some sort of an injury? Is there something like that that sets you apart that may make you more eligible to some scholarships than others? The next is financial need. So it just pertains to your income. Some scholarships do require you to be in financial need. Not all of them, but some do. These ones then become directly available to you from the beginning. So if there is any questions and you're unsure about anything, we always have the scholarship administrator details on every scholarship. So you can contact them directly and they'll be able to help you answer any questions you do have. And last of all, we have our academic average. So just to have your marks from your last year of study to hand. As Chris alluded to earlier, 86% don't require, but 14% do. So if a scholarship comes up that does require academic average, at least then you already are prepared and have it to hand.
Excellent. And continuing on the profile?
Yeah, so the next one is heritage. Again, sometimes there is some heritage scholarships that are directly linked to a certain type of heritage and are given primarily to that. So if that's something that comes up, it may again give you further options of scholarships that are available to you. The field of study you're interested in, now this is something that does pop up quite a lot. So there is scholarships that may be directly available to business or arts or photography. What are you interested in? What do you want to study? And that's a way of also gaining added scholarships to your list. So affiliation. If you're thinking of joining a company, maybe they're offering a scholarship or some sort of financial reward to go with them. You have religious groups, unions and associations. So there's always something that maybe it's not you directly, but maybe your family is even associated with that you can help, that will be able to help with you. And we have a little note here coming next. There are currently more than 30 scholarships on the site for Canadian military families that are sure to add for your affiliation. So we have the Armed Forces, we have the Canadian Armed Forces, Air Force, Cadet, and Navy. So they've all got different scholarships that are available right now on site.
So that's part of the affiliation. Then we can actually put in, I'm Canadian Armed Forces family.
Yeah, and we can search for this as well in the search bar that we'll be able to see later on today. And once we put it into the search bar, they'll pop up for us, anything that's provided by them. But we've all these great search tools, so there is so many different ways we can navigate the site.
So these 30 scholarships that are available are besides the 40 that are from Support Our Troops, which are not on Scholarships Canada, which we're going to talk about later. So right off the get-go, there's 70 scholarships for CAF families, and I'm going to show you a whole lot more in a little while. So stake your claim. Apply, folks.
Brilliant.
Go ahead.
Oh, the next, sorry. Next is activities. So if you are into sports, if you're religious, academic, you have to think what's your keen interest. So maybe there's something that you're excelling at that you know that you are better than the competition. That's where you have to stake your claim, as you say, and apply for them scholarships that really, really stick out to you. And there is scholarships out there for everything. We have two highlighted underneath. There's one for being a bagpiper, and there's even a scholarship for being tall, which it just shows the niche.
Bagpiper, you're going to be shoo-in.
Not too many applying for that one.
Oh, do we have any bagpipers actually here? Give us a green check if you're a bagpiper, or if you know a bagpiper that you can share this with. The checks are on the right-hand side of the screen. And a red X if you're not a bagpiper. There we go, Nicole. You have so many other talents, Nicole. All right, thank you so much. So yeah, and a scholarship for being tall is on, I think it's tall.com or something like that. But yeah, phenomenal resources. Go ahead, on the location? Yeah,
so again, some are based on location and where you go to school. So some scholarships, again, it's probably a little self-explanatory for everybody, but they may be based on your geographical location. So that may be as broad as Canada, or it could be as narrow as Toronto, but it could also be based on the specific school. So maybe if you're studying in our university, you can win our scholarship only.
Wonderful, thank you. So those are some of the points that we're going to put into your profile when you sign into Scholarships Canada. So now we're going to give you a little tour of Scholarships Canada, and things we're going to look at that Chris and Daniel will be sharing with us is how to create your profile, how to manage your subscriptions, how to review your scholarships, how to search for specific scholarships, how to refine your search, and some great resources that they have. So I'm going to be sharing my session window right now so you can see that. It's going to turn blue. Here we go. And this is the Scholarships Canada site that we're looking at. If you have any questions, if you just bring your mouse right up to the tip top of the screen, you can continue to chat. And also you can, if you need to ask a question, you can physically ask a question by unmuting here. So if you bring your mouse right up to the middle of the screen and press chat, you can continue to chat. And if you want to just give me a green check so that I know you're able to chat, that would be great, so I can continue monitoring. Make sure you can find it. Bring your mouse right up to the middle of the screen. A tab will come down and just click on chat. Great. James found it. Excellent. Okay. All right. So while you're talking about this particular slide, the first page on your Scholarships Canada, I'll start logging in for you. Chris?
Great. Yeah. So I think, Margaret, you're going to log in. Are you going to use the RexCon?
I am.
Perfect. So we're going to log in, and then we can take a look from there at the profile. But if you're creating a profile, you wouldn't log in, you would sign up, which is the button on the far right at the top there. And it's the same sort of workflow in terms of the questions, as we'll see once we log in. So the login, incidentally, while we're doing that, works on Scholarships Canada. It also works on School Finder. So if there are some students or parents out there that are actively searching for a college or university program, School Finder is a great place to start and to carry on your search. And so the account that you create will work in both sites, and we can maybe demonstrate that at the end. We'll just go over to School Finder and see what that looks like. So we've logged in here, and you can see this is my dashboard. I've got the key things. I am a student. You can log in as a parent. You can create a profile, or as a counselor at a high school or educational institution, or an agent. So we have all sorts of different people in the community. You can update your profile by clicking update. You can manage your descriptions on the left there. We'll take a look at that in a minute. And then you can see your scholarships that you've been matched to. So in this case, I have 227 matching scholarships. I have 9 saved, and I have 12 discarded. So before we look at that, maybe, Margaret, could you click on my name at the top right of the page? And let's go to my account.
Last time it was dashboard. It's my account?
Yeah. Yeah, you may be right. I think it's we'll just take a quick look at this. So this is my profile. This is what you're going to be presented with when you log into the site or create an account. So if we just look at one drop down, if you click on I am, so this is where you would indicate if you're a parent, mature student, parent or student, educational professional, etc. So we'll stick to parent, but as I said earlier, you may be a mature student going back to college or university, or going to college or university from high school where you graduated 10 years ago. So there will be awards and whatnot available for you, so click mature student. In this case, we'll leave it where it is. And if we click over to educational interests, this is the screen that sort of gives the system a sense of what you're interested in. So if you have a school of interest, you would select it here. And you can see, Margaret, if you take that empty field and start typing Dalhousie or St. Mary's, I think someone mentioned they wanted to go to. So it'll give you the school in the database. You choose the right one, and that's Bob's your uncle, and away you go. If you're not sure, then you would check not decided. In this case, we're sure, so we'll leave that. And then for a field of study, the same idea. You can start typing, and the system will start pre-populating. We have a lot of different fields of study, so you can select the one or ones that you're interested in. And again, if you're not sure, then you would select not decided. So the next battery of questions is what level. So is it bachelor or diploma? When do you plan on starting? What year are you interested in, like are you going into first year, are you in second, third, fourth, etc. And then part of what we'll do is if you're looking for a school, a college or university, we will help you if you tell us what area what province in Canada are you looking in or what countries outside of Canada. So we'll leave that. Let's go over to the next tab at the top.
What is the definition of a mature student? Somebody asked. What is the definition of a mature student?
I believe that actually is determined by each province, but if I'm not mistaken, it's 20 or 21 or 22 years old. If you're not sure, and you've been out of school for more than 3 years, I would maybe check mature student, and then check with the educational institutions to which you're applying, because they may have different criteria for evaluating you. You don't have recent high school transcripts, for instance. And then in terms of scholarships, there may be a definition in the scholarship.
Great, thank you.
Okay, so if we go into the profile here, we're going to get some of those neat questions like a scholarship profile, right on. We're going to get some questions that address things like heritage, marks, so I've got marks in there. So what is my heritage? And there's sort of a checklist here that you can check. These questions are all really important too because they will, really hone the search. And as we've talked about, there may be a scholarship out there that is pretty micro-targeted. I see amputee down sort of a little further. There probably aren't a lot of amputees that are going to be looking on the site. So if you are an amputee, make sure you select that. By the way, all the information that you give us remains private. We don't release it to anyone, and you can change it any time. So it's all kept private. So yeah, personal circumstances also important. So if any of those apply, select those, and maybe go to the Margaret, if you want. Remove Canadian Armed Forces veterans or start typing over that. We want to just start typing anything, A maybe, just to get a sense of what, so there's Alberta Association of Recreational, I missed it, but they're Accounting Foundation, Education Foundation of Alberta. So these are some of the, the associations and organizations that if you're affiliated to them, there may be a scholarship for you, okay?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, there are a lot of them. So we try to make it easy by sort of typing and it will auto-populate.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow, okay.
And then what's the last field? I think it's...
community questions.
Yes, community questions. So these, and we talked a bit about this before, or community service. Is there one in there? Maybe that's under, okay, yeah, we've gone to that screen, that's fine. So these are other, where did you hear about it? This helps us with just the site where we advertise and market. And then what are your other interests? And this just helps in terms of if there's something that we find useful, we'll let you know based on what you select here. And I think that's it.
Okay.
So that's basically the sign up. When you're finished, if we scroll to the bottom, there will be a go to my dashboard and we'll see what we have on the dashboard.
Okay. Wow, this is really great. PLAR comes in. What's PLAR, Holly?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Great. PLAR is Prior Learning Assessment Recognition, which is favorable for those that have left the scholastic experience for an indefinite amount of time and are trying to get back into pursuing educational interests. They can, in some cases, programs will definitely take your professional and personal experiences that you've acquired throughout your, your post education life, and equate it to a competency or a skill. And in a lot of cases, that can potentially impact positively on the amount of study that you're required to do. So if you can prove basically that you have some of these competencies, it does in some cases shorten the time that you have to spend in formalized education, because you can prove that you've had that ability to do that particular skill.
Ah, I see. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Great. So, Chris, we're back with the dashboard.
We're back. So, Margaret, before we move on, let's just quickly go into managed subscriptions, because there is this deadline alert that Daniel mentioned. So it's on the left. It's probably easier to get to it that way. Yeah.
Managed subscriptions.
So,
okay. So.
Right. So there are different communication pieces that we will provide. You have to subscribe to them. As many of you may be familiar with the CASL legislation in Canada and privacy, GDPR in Europe. So we adhere to all of those. So we're not going to release your information. You can have it removed. You can change it any time. And if we email you something on behalf of a college or university, if you're looking for a college or university, we ask you permission, and that's the first question. If you're not interested in going on to college or university, or you're already in college or university, then you select no. It's probably the best thing to do there. But the second question is, would you like to receive scholarship alerts? I would highly recommend selecting yes. And the reason is, we'll send you an email once a month that outlines any scholarship that you've been matched to, so that in your profile that you may be eligible for. We'll send you just a little note, an email that says, the following scholarships have deadlines in the next 40 days. And it's a great way to stay on top of things so you don't miss a deadline. So we highly recommend that. And then the other ones are newsletters and other things that if you're interested, subscribe to them. If you're not, then don't. But yeah, that's a key one, is the scholarship deadline alert. Okay?
Under managing my subscriptions.
Under managing my subscriptions. You'll be asked that question when you create the account. So I think it's when you create an account, it's the last screen you see. Okay, so we can go back to dashboard and we can take a look at a scholarship.
Do, 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 do. Here we go, here we go.
There we go. So why don't we click on my matching, let's go to the matching scholarships. So these are sorted by default, closest to today's date and sort of forward from there. And we'll stop here for just a second. So there's the scholarship name. If there's a school that it's associated with, it will say it there. If there's a field of study, it will say it there. These at the top are just any. I'm interested in Queen's University, so I see there's a Queen's University scholarship. And yes, Margaret's circling the views. So we've got a deadline there, we've got the value there, which is great. The views is important in terms of your strategy. So a scholarship that has very high views means that a lot of people have looked at it on the site. Not just you, but anyone else who's on the site using it has had a look at it. So if you're going to go after that one, you just be aware that it's going to be fairly competitive because it looks like a lot of people have viewed it. The ones that are sort of the hidden gems are going to be the ones that are few there that are moderate or low. So there's one there that the Dr. Malcolm Kinsella Memorial Award is very low, so not many people have looked at it, so it may be worth exploring. Now you'll also see that the value is NS. So in some cases, scholarships come from endowments and from funds where it may not be possible to always assign a value to the award. So it may be, if we don't know what it is, we put NS in. There may be details in the notes field, but it doesn't mean that it's likely going to be worth at least several $100s. but it just may not be defined there. So let's scroll down a bit further, Margaret. Let's see what, we'll take a look at one of these. So lots for Queens, keep going. There's the Ken Dryden Frontenac County bursary, interesting. Well, why don't we take a look at that, or yeah, let's take a look at that one.
Is it better to have more filters on your profile, or does that limit the amount of options?
You can play with it a bit. There are options to filter things or go back and change your profile. If you think you have way too many awards to manage, maybe try putting more filters on. And then you can favorite them. So if we take a look at this, it's provided by Queens. So if I go to Queens, this might be something I'm eligible for. It's the deadline is March 1st. It's renewable. And so what that means is that this award, and there isn't a value right now on it, but if this award would be renewable over 3 years. So if I maintain whatever the criteria are to win it, and I win it, I may win it over 2 and 3 years. So it's something that I'll get over 3 years. That's what renewable means. It's not automatic consideration. Some of the university and college awards are automatic consideration, which means when you apply to the university or college, you will automatically be assessed. You don't have to apply. We scroll down a little further, there may be some notes there. Okay, to a student entering first year in any faculty or school who has significant experience in child welfare, who's experiencing financial need, renewable, and I think I noticed it was bursary, which is financial need, renewable for 3 years. And then it's, so all the Queen's university faculties and whatnot are there, and there usually is a link at the bottom to apply or for more information. So we scroll down a little further, there's an email address. Sorry, scroll up a bit, Margaret. Keep going. Yeah, so more info is a link. So the awards will all have links to further information. So that you can get more information. We encourage contacting the administrator. If you have questions, they're really meant to help. So they're more than, in most cases, more than happy to assist you if you have any questions. Now, if we like this, we could click Save. So if we click the Save button on the right, on the left, so now this has been saved. It's something that we think is worth considering. And so now if I go back, if we go back to scroll back and go back to search, and click back to search at the top. So this is now one that I've saved. And no matter what I do, if I change my profile so that I get a different sort, I'm always going to have my saved scholarships. So it's something that I'm really serious about and I'm interested in applying to. So I would start to manage that saved list. I've got 10 right now, and I might have a few more when I'm finished.
Excellent. Okay, that's a great tour. And so that's pretty much it for the tour, I believe?
That's pretty much it. That's sort of the start, yeah.
And, oh, one thing we didn't share was where to find special resources. I thought that was pretty cool.
Okay.
Like the information on how to write a scholarship essay.
Right. So all of that would be under resources, tips, alternative financing, FAQs. So tips is a good place to start.
So there's all kinds of tips here, great articles. Yeah. And alternative.
The financing would be some of the other that we talked about off the top.
Under alternative financing, writing a strong scholarship application.
There you go. Canada student loans and provincial student loans. And then,
so it's really important. Look at those resources. There's some really great, great articles there. Thank you. Excellent. Okay, so now we've got signed up on Scholarships Canada as a profile, and we see a few scholarships that we like. And we want to know for sure that there's a scholarship for you. So we're going to go through maybe just one or two samples of the 5, but here's a scholarship 1, retail as a career. So there's opportunities here for if you're into a retail career. Toronto Real Estate Board's annual scholarships. Let's have a look at this one, shall we?
Sure. So in this particular case, it's 2 awards, 4 awards, 2 that at $5,000 and 2 at $2,500. So some scholarships have multiple awards associated with them. And that'll be indicated. In this case, there are 4, 2 are for 5, 2 are for $2,500. You need to write an essay. So the requirements will be indicated in notes, and so you'll get a sense of what is required. We encourage students to have things ready, like an essay, certainly reference letters and recommendations. Your CV or resume should be on hand if that's required. So do a lot of this stuff, this work up front, and it will make it much easier to apply for various scholarships. You won't have to go out and contact someone, a referee for a reference. You won't have to, spell check your resume. So have this done ahead of time and have it done or refreshed sort of on an annual basis. So you may first apply in grade 12, but keep this information up to date. It's good for networking and generally in your life after school. These are good business practices or life practices. So keep these things up to date so that if you do apply for a scholarship in 2nd or 3rd year, you don't have to go searching as well. So yeah, in this case, it's a 1,500-word essay. There are guidelines on the site for essay writing, but take it seriously, like you're writing an essay for a course. Adjudicators, if they get a lot of applications, don't adhere to the rule. So if it's a 1,500-word essay, don't write 2,000 words. You may get disqualified, or the adjudicators may just say, well, this is too many, I'm not going to even look at it. So really follow the guidelines in the notes and the requirements. And of course, spell check it, make sure that whatever you produce is grammatically correct, because that could count, towards or disqualify you quickly and certainly count towards winning it. So take it seriously, take these things quite seriously. Open to all residents Ontario, so some scholarships will only be for students in a certain province, certain country, even a certain city in some cases. So there are scholarships out there for people who live in various different cities. This is that was a renewable scholarship. This is kind of an interesting one because it's First Nation Aboriginal scholarship. And there are certainly scholarships for different, by heritage, which we saw earlier when we looked at the profile. This is a good example, too, of a second-year scholarship. It's not for entrance or entering students. It's for students in second year. And it's specific to law. So there are many scholarships that are program-specific. In this case, it's law.
And this one, the military district.
So now I'm not sure. I read the notes earlier on this one. It's for descendants of those members of the Canadian Provost Corps who served in military district number 6. Now, some of you may know that. I'm not really familiar with that, but it's, this is a very specific scholarship, and if you happen to be a descendant, this is a scholarship you could actually quite easily win.
Great.
Interesting, eh?
And yet, you see it has the low here. That's right, because not a lot of people match that.
Not a lot of people are eligible. It's not going to come up in their sort of match. Yeah, exactly.
Excellent. Okay, these are really great tips. So we're gonna look a little bit more about the essays, and it's important to know your strengths and be honest and be passionate. Have a draft essay ready to go. Like Chris was saying, you have to have the draft of the reference letters ready to go. Your resume has to be tweaked, no grammar, no spelling errors, and so that you have a rough draft of an essay ready to go that can be tweaked for each different scholarship to make it a little bit different. It's really important to follow the words. If they say 600, it doesn't mean 800 because that would be too many for the application review team to look at. So please be mindful of their time. And step 3 is edit, edit, edit. And I put that 3 times because you can never have it edited enough. Spelling errors are really detrimental they'll go into the no pile quite quickly. So make sure you know your strengths. So I'm going to give you one example here. Let's say, name one job that you have worked at that you have made a difference in 50 words or less. Who can read this for me? Raise your hand if you'd like to read this for me, please. Anybody? Anybody? Bueller? Huh? Just raise your hand if you'd like to read this for me. I know of all these people, I know at least one person can read it for me. All right, there we go, Tracy. Thank you.
I'll read it for you.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yep.
I have a part-time job at Tim Hortons and give people coffee and donuts that they really, really like. I help the staff that I work with. I really enjoy getting up early in the morning to wait on customers. I get good reports from my bosses.
Wonderful. Okay, so that's one way of writing. Name one job that you have worked at that you have made a difference in 50 words or less. Okay, Trent, can you read the second one, the second application for us? You'll have to unmute yourself.
As a customer service employee at Tim Hortons, I make significant and positive influences on my coworkers every day. My leadership skills are recognized through coordinating additional fundraisers, which have given our store more funds to send kids to camp. I have received several compliments from coworkers, supervisors, and customers, highlighting exceptional teamwork and work ethic to continually exceed customer expectations.
Okay, so you have one scholarship to give away, and the essay is really important. Name one job that you have worked at. In the chat, would you give it to person A or would you give the scholarship to person B, and why? Who will you give the scholarship to, person A or person B, and why? Into the chat. Are you writing? Person A or B? Who gets the scholarship? This is person B, this is person A. There we go. More articulate B. There you go. So, Chris, there's more impacting B. However, if we're looking at financial academic, it should go to A. So you've been on the board. What would you say?
For me, B gets it. Yeah,
B gets it.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm going to award, it's, much better. First of all, there's some grammar issues with the first one. Tim Hortons should be capped. It's a proper noun. And it's just much more, as I think a few people have, it's more articulate, it's more, B is more professional. And you feel good reading it. You know, but it's sure you're serving coffee, but the person serving coffee, that what they're doing in B is really helping kids go to camp. They're striving to be excellent at what they're doing. So they're happy to receive compliments from coworkers. yeah, just much better. No question.
Okay, B gets a scholarship. Woohoo! See, it was that easy. So there are scholarship workshops. There are scholarship coaches that we're going to share with you about. The scholarship workshops are actually free of charge, and they're online, so I would really suggest you take them. And this is the kind of thing that they share with you. They look through your scholarship essay, and they change it from A to B. And that's what editing is really important as well. Thank you for playing the game with me. So a few scholarship essay tips. Join a free essay writing workshop, which I'm going to share with you a little bit about. Read the question and be honest and passionate. If they ask you for extra essays, give them extra essays. If they ask you to do 50 words versus 500, make sure you pay attention to the word count. Prepare an essay beforehand so that it can be adapted, so that if you have a tight turnaround time for a schedule, for a deadline, you're able to submit the essay. And tell your story, you know, be passionate, tell your story. You have a lot of experience. Make sure there's no typos and that you've edited, because if you don't have typos in your presentation, it shares a lot about who you are, because spelling does count. Have at least 2 people review your essays. And so these are some of the tips in the chat. Write the essay tip that is most important that you learned today. Just like a resume, you're right, Holly. So in the chat, if you can write your scholarship essay tip that you've found the most helpful. Edit, edit, edit. Yep, that's true. Great. So, professional writing and impact. Here are 2 really great resources. One is right in Halifax, and Holly, I hope maybe you might want to connect with her. Chris, can you explain this scholarship success GPS, My Campus GPS?
Yeah, so we have just connected with Janet recently, and so we've given on Scholarships Canada and School Finder, we're trying to provide really a platform like LinkedIn or Facebook or you know, any kind of Etsy, any sort of platform. We want to provide space for Janet and Brittany Palmer in Vancouver, and anyone else who has a voice and is interested in helping students. So we've given Janet some space in Discover, which is where we put our content. And so she's posted several articles that are doing very well. She was recommended by a colleague of mine, Suzanne Tyson, and it looks like she just has fabulous resources. So she has a website that Margaret has pulled up there, and I think is in the deck, and all sorts of great resources. And if you're in the area, and even if you're not, she may be doing events and speaking stuff. We can see there that she's doing a bunch of local events in the Maritimes in Nova Scotia. By all means, go out and listen to her, and I think she can be a great, really help in terms of the application process, and yeah, and the same with Brittany Palmer at West.
So Brittany Palmer is Unlock Your Future. This is hers. Yeah. And she offers free writing, it's 1 o'clock in the morning, writing workshops here every 2 months. And October 31st, so she hasn't updated her, but it's held via Skype. And you just click here and we're going to give you this website in the after session email. So you just go to Writing Workshops, Unlock Your Future, and then just click here if you're interested in the next writing workshop. So this, Brittany has actually, she was the one who earned over $80,000 for her university 10 years back. And she did it just by 1 scholarship at a time. The first, I think, 10 or 11 scholarships she got no reply from, and then she polished her presentation, and she, I think, earned quite a few. I think it was about 16. I'm not sure of the number. So, yeah, those are two great resources for you to have, all about scholarships. Now, also, Scholarships Canada is a phenomenal resource. Thank you so much, Daniel and Chris, for all the information that you do to help others find secure funds for post-secondary education. Not all of the scholarships, though, are on Scholarships Canada. So, especially for militaries, next week you're going to get to meet Support Our Troops, and they have more than 40 scholarships. I'm going to send you the link to the upcoming workshop where you can ask questions of what types of skills that Support Our Troops is looking for, and they have 40 scholarships to give away from various organizations. The Royal Canadian Legion, check with your local branch. All over Canada they give out scholarships. Work, it could be yours or your parents, Tim Hortons, McDonald's, just ask the question. Do you go to church? Are you part of a community center? Just ask them if they have a scholarship. Ask teachers, the Better Business Bureau. I'm going to be sending you out a link to the Canadian Military Family Magazine, who did an article. CAF Ombudsman has a list of Canadian Armed Forces scholarships that are available that are not on Scholarships Canada. So I'm going to ask you to stake your claim and apply. Yeah, and I was just reading the chats here. If somebody was saying that their weakness is their writing, well, that's why there's a lot of people that can help. There's resources available and editing as well. So I'm just going to share with you, I have a 4-page document, but I'm not going to go through it in detail. I'm going to send it to you in the after-session email. This is different national Canadian Armed Forces scholarships that are available that are not on the Scholarships Canada website. So Academy Canada, Algonquin College, these are just some of them for Canada Company, Canadian Armed Forces Hero Fund. 3 pages, my friends, of different scholarships. There's one here for Saskatchewan. There's one for, where's the one? Royal Canadian Legion Poppy Fund. So I'm going through this really quickly. Wounded Warriors Canada, one of our people that watched the recording from 4 years ago actually won a Wounded Warriors $6,000 scholarship. Women in Defense and Security. There are so many scholarships. I'm going to be sending you this resource that you can look for, and please ask us questions if you have any questions. These are scholarships for Canadian military families that are not on Scholarships Canada. So there's even more. So let's go through some of the general tips. Daniel or Chris, would you like to share some of these?
Daniel,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so again, these are just general tips. First of all, get motivated. If you've got to want and you've got to beat the competition here. Some of them were saying they're less competitive, some of them are a little more. You've got to get yourself motivated and keep, as Margaret's saying, apply, apply, apply. There's so many chances out there for everybody and something fits absolutely everybody perfect. Budget your time. Now, we have put down here 3 hours a week. It'll depend on yourself. Maybe you can't do that every week, but you've got to commit a little bit of time, and this does not have to be just looking for the scholarship and scrolling through everything, but updating your resume, your reference letter, making sure that everything is in check, that you have yourself to your absolute optimum. The next point, Scholarships Canada is your BFS. So keep your profile up to date. What we're trying to say here is we're here to help you. All the information that's there is for your benefit. Sign up for the scholarship deadline alerts, then you're going to be on top of what you're doing, and there's always contact information with the administrator. So if you do have questions, just contact the award administrator. They are looking for you to reach out. Our scholarship administrators, we always hear, they want to hear more from the applicants and they want more applicants. So if you're asking questions, they know you're interested. Apply to the smaller awards. there's less competition. The reason for this is if the money is less, you can win multiple amounts of these. I see somebody in the chat asked earlier, can you apply to multiple awards? As Margaret has alluded to, Brittany Palmer won 16 awards, I believe. They all add up. You can win large amounts by going for some smaller awards as well as the larger awards. Just ask. Don't be afraid to ask the question where you work, where your community groups are, with your friends, with your family. You will be so surprised. There's scholarships popping up everywhere. Just take it upon yourself just to ask the question. Be prepared. So this is tying in with budgeting your time a little bit. So have yourself in check and have all of your references, have your skill set, everything that you know exactly where you stand. Once you're prepared, a lot of these awards can tie in with each other. So by being prepared, you may be automatically ready to apply for 2 or 3 awards straight off the bat. And the last one, don't give up. It's the same thing. Try, and try again. We have down here 10 times the charm. There's no such thing as, oh, I didn't get the first 3, I'm not going to get it. There's always another one. And it's never ending, as we say. It's not just for first years. It's for any level of education, 16 to 96.
Yep, and I think when you're 96, it's free, isn't it?
Yeah, I think at that stage I'll just give it to you.
Oh, that's fantastic. Those are really great tips, and I'm so glad we broke some myths, you know? Yeah.
Oh, it's been very good.
Okay, I'd like to introduce you to Brenda.
Hi, Margaret.
Where are you? Hi, Brenda. So Brenda has this phenomenal, she's an MFS Washington coordinator who has developed with her team College Virtual University and College Fair, where she's actually meeting with different universities. So I'm going to let you take the ball on this one, and we'll give you some information in the after-session email. Go ahead, Brenda.
Awesome. So what we've done, it's kind of a 2-phase thing we're trying. It started out mainly as for OutCan students. So I know there's a few OutCan students on this call, this WebEx right now. But we're just looking for a way for our students who are not currently in an area where a Canadian university that they want to attend is, or college for that matter. And we decided that we'd videotape basically their high school presentation. And so that's what we've done. And there is, the link is on, I think, the next slide. But so we've videoed a bunch of these different universities. And then the second part is we are going to do a live chat session with many of these universities posted here. Some of them we haven't quite gotten the times yet, but most of them, the times are posted on the Facebook page where you can see the red arrow pointing out at. It's called Canadian Virtual University and College Fair, and it is a closed group, so you do need to request to become a member. But we have representatives from all of these universities who have agreed to attend. They have set hours where they're going to be on the group live, and they're going to be answering questions in real time. And then after that, or before for that matter, if you have a question and you just want to put it on their event page, you can. And they'll be popping in throughout the week. So it starts actually on Monday, the 28th, and goes till February 1st. So just all you have to do is click on, I don't know, can they click on that link, Margaret? Or just
no, I'll send in the after-session email.
Yeah. Okay. So you'll get that link, or you can just search Canadian Virtual University and College Fair on Facebook and just ask to join, and I'll accept you. and you're all set. It's all the information is there on the Facebook page. It's also on CAP Connection. It's on the U.S. CAP Connection site as well, and I believe there's a link provided in the next slide for that as well, and that has all the links to the videotaped sessions from each.
I didn't put it on a slide. I'm going to send it out on the after-session email. It's going to be a big email.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. This is great. More information. And there's also School Finder, which Chris and Daniel can share with us about as well.
Yeah, and also the social links, so you can connect on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. The School Finder, Margaret, can you open up your web browser and click on the School Finder link at the bottom of the page. And I think one of the values with School Finder in terms of finding the right college, university, or the program really, is the database of programs. So like we try to database all the scholarships across the country. We try, so maybe log in again, or yeah, click that and then log in. We add all the bachelor, diploma, master's, doctorate programs in the country, and in that process, we also try to collect the prerequisites. And especially in that sort of going from high school to post-secondary grades and what the requirements to get into a particular university or college are sometimes a big issue. So we've tried to make it easier to do that. In addition to that, as we're logging in, there are all sorts of neat resources like a career quiz that will help if you're not sure what eventually you want to do. This will kind of give you some heads up, some tips, point you in the right direction. And then if you click, Margaret, the matching programs, 5 matching programs in the middle of the page. So there's the career quiz, there's the personality quiz, sort of fun things that will help sort of guide you in the process of trying to figure out what you want to do. So this is, again, based on the profile that we saw earlier, so the same profile that we used in the scholarship search. I think I've changed it here, so it's just field of study is accounting, and I'm only interested in going to Nova Scotia. So here are the options, and you can see the cost and the grades, the entry grades, which we hope helps, and the length of time. You can do compare if you want by clicking add and compare up to 3 programs. And then get more information from each of the universities there on the program and on the university itself. So we try to, with School Finder, again, help match students to the right program and through that college or university. And also provide things like there's an events page. And so if events across the country or around the world will be posted on the main page or the events section of School Finder. Yeah, and other good stuff. So that's the spiel.
Excellent, thank you.
Yeah.
So I'd like to introduce Holly Rye as well. Holly, are you around?
I am, yes, thank you.
Okay, so Holly is the Community Integration and Employment Support Supervisor. A lot of you know her in Halifax Regional MFRC. If you wanted to say a few words, that'd be awesome.
Absolutely, thank you. For us, it's really about connecting military spouses to the supports and services that are umbrellaed under our organization, and luckily employment and education is one of those areas. So it's a personal passion of mine. I have been with the Military Family Resource Center for 16 years and have in those 16 years, worked with some amazing people through their own career transition, as well as going back to school and taking on education. And believe me, it is everything in between. It's for sure. You're never too old or too young to keep learning. So I just invite military spouses that are in our catchment area. So that's those that are all in the Halifax and region area up to and including Cape Breton. We have 3 sites. I'm physically located in 12 Wing, Shearwater. However, I do support all three. So get connected, and I invite you to, reach out. And if there's anything that I can assist with in terms of the application process or employment-related challenges, I'm there to help.
Would you be somebody that could help to edit some essays?
Yes, because in my other life, I edit resumes.
There you go. Okay, thank you so much, Holly.
Very similar, yes.
And one other thing I wanted to share with you, I don't know if you know, but the Canadian Reserves has a full-time summer job program, and I'll send you the link, which is down here. If you're interested in that, it's a full-time paid summer job. Wow, we've come to the end of our session, so thank you so much. Please keep us posted on your scholarship search. We want to hear how you're doing. We hope to see you next week at the open forum discussion on scholarships, where we're going to be meeting Support Our Troops representative. Here are some email addresses: Holly Rye, Daniel Jones, Chris Wilkins, myself, Margaret McKenzie. And please reach out. As they were saying, it's really important, even when you're applying for a scholarship, reach out to the administrators, because they want to hear from you. They want to know more about you. And I'm just really thankful for Scholarships Canada and Halifax MFRC for getting this together. And don't forget, stake your claim, apply. There's so much out there. Apply, apply, apply. And let us know how you're doing. Anything you want to add, Chris or Daniel?
No, just thank you and good luck for me.
Yeah, thank you very much, Margaret. It's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. And we'll be here for questions if you have any questions for us. We'll be on until everybody's gone.